First of all, we give praise and esteem and honor to the living Elohim. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, pick this up. John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures. For in them you think you have eternal life, and there they was testified me. And you would not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. Shalom. Another come in his own name, and you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that come from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you. Even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. If you believe not his writing, how shall you believe my words? Well, let's be the Shabbat and praise be to Elohim. Proverbs 27 and 18. And let's make this thing do what it do. Move high, go to move. Oh, thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. Whoso keep the fig tree shall eat the fruit thereof. So he that wait on his master shall be honored. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're dealing with. That's what we began to discuss on Wednesday evening. That the same way that you keep that fig tree is the same as waiting for your master or guarding that word. When we look at keep here, I want you to look at it. That's Nasar. Remember, that is to observe, to guard with fidelity. If you don't know what fidelity is in the English language, let me share it with you. Oh, we don't want to lose that because I need to keep that on deck because I'm going to purchase that. You will willing at a time in the future. Shalom, man. A little white Hanoki. That is to be faithful to a person, cause, or belief by demonstrated by continual loyalty and support. So when you look at Natsar is to guard with faithfulness. See, pause. Revelation chapter 3. Just because Yahushua calls himself this is what we shall do. Revelation chapter 3 and verse 14. Of course, you know, with the Kaseder, that's the faithful ones, or the ones who are with him. So those are ones who are Natsar or guarding that fig tree faithfully. And that is Nun, Sod, and Raj. So that Yahushua is the way of life. This is why you're guarding it. And unto this is Revelation 3 and 14. And unto the Malachim of the synagogue of the Laodiceans write, these things saith the Amen, the faithful and true witness, the beginning of the creation of Elohim. Now remember, we talked about that fig tree as well, and that is Tahan, and that was Tau, Aleph, Noon, and a Hay. And of course, that is for fig tree. So I want you to come over here to Luke 13, I believe. Why this is important, why we're discussing this, and all that good old stuff. I want you to come over here to Luke 13. I'll pick it up in verse 1 just on general principle because of the things that's contained in Luke 13:1. There were present at that season some that told him of the Galileans whose blood Pilate had mingled with their sacrifices. Yahushua answering said unto them, suppose ye that these Galileans were sinners above all the Galileans because they suffered such things? I tell you no. But except you repent, you shall all likewise perish. Or those 18 upon whom the tower in Shalom fell and slew them, think you that they were sinners above all men that dwelt in Jerusalem? I tell you no. But except you repent, you shall all likewise perish. Now, when you look in the book of Job kind of alludes to that because Job's friends had accused him of unrighteousness, yet having no proof of his righteousness, as if those things fell upon him because he was the sinner of all sinners. I made mention of this to you the other day, that certain things happen to people in this world who are sinners and they receive their judgment. But just because they receive that does not exclude you. Because if you have not turned from your iniquity and your unrighteousness, you will perish just like they perish. See, that is a hard truth that most Brews do not like to have a conversation about. Because they like to look out to the people in the world and say, see, that's them sinners getting a judgment, but you're going to get the same judgment because you were in the same place as them. As them. Your heart's not right. See, I've been talking to one of the brothers about this the last couple of days, and one of the biggest mistakes that many people make is that they have the incorrect mindset. Now, the mindset that I was referring to is the mindset of desiring to have success. And most individuals do not have success because they don't want to sacrifice and they don't want to do the labor. Yahushua himself has told you in the 9th chapter of the book of Luke at about the 23rd verse that you should take up your stake daily and follow him. That means that you will be willing to do the labor of offering yourself and then make that sacrifice. Because remember, he said he had a work to go do. He had to be about his father's business. A part of his father's business was for him to die. Most people do not, shalom, man. Most people don't want to do that. See, you want the greatness, but you don't want to go through the things that are required to be great. We know that the text says that Yahusha shall be called great and the son of the highest. You want greatness, but you don't want to do the work. See, all this stuff that these niggas be out here arguing about, and that junk ain't hitting on nothing. It ain't hitting on nothing because it's not producing any manner of greatness from the individuals who are purporting it. You have a lot of individuals who have a lot of information, but they have no ability to execute, to manifest any manner of greatness. And when we're talking about greatness, we're talking about greatness as it pertains to Elohim, not greatness as it pertains to man. Let me see if the word great is in Hebrew. I know it's in the English, but let me see if it's in the Hebrew. Let me see if greatness is first. And it is. Come over here to Exodus chapter 15, man, and we'll see what the Hebrew word for greatness is. We'll pick this up at Exodus chapter 15 and verse 3. Yahuwah is a man of war. Yahuwah is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his host have he cast into the sea. His chosen captains are also drowned in the Red Sea. The depths have covered them, they say, into the bottom as a stone. Your right hand, O Yahuwah, has become esteemed in power. Your right hand, O Yahuwah, have dashed to pieces the enemy. Just for a brief pause, because we're here. Of course, you don't see him talking about destroying Pharaoh, which is in turn talking about him destroying Satan, which in turn is talking about him destroying sin, which is in turn talking about him destroying death. And we talked about that last week as far as his enemies being made his footstool and him overcoming and defeating them. Well, all of these things come about because of an individual guarding that fig tree faithfully. And we're going to, again, we're still holding Luke 13. We're going to take a look at that. We do not need wherever we left from beforehand. I don't recall it, but we don't need it anymore. Verse 7, though, in the greatness of your excellency, you have overthrown them that rose up against you and sent forth your wrath, which consumed them as stubble. Now he said, in the greatness of his excellency is how this is able to be done. This ball here, hold on, want to cooperate. And when we look at greatness, what we have here is Rove, Rosh, and Bat, multitude, abundance, and greatness. Simple as that. Rosh and Ba, the son of Elohim, is what is simply described as greatness. If you're talking about greatness, then you have to deal with the son of Elohim. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 5. Deuteronomy chapter 5 and verse 17. Deuteronomy chapter 5 and verse 17. Matter of fact, not 17. I move my way around. 5 and 2. I'll work my way down a little bit. We can read everything. Yahuwah Elohim made a covenant with us in Horeb. Yahuwah made not this covenant with our fathers, but with us, even us who are all of us here alive this day. Yahuwah talked with you face to face in the mount in the midst of the fire. I stood between Yahuwah and you at that time to show you the word of Yahuwah, for you were afraid by reason of the fire and went not up into the mount, saying, I am Yahuwah your Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Mizraim from the house of bondage, and you shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters beneath the earth. You shall not bow down yourself unto them, nor serve them, for I am Yahuwah your Elohim, and a jealous Elohim, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the sons in the third and the fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Now, you shall not take the name of Yahuwah your Elohim in vain, for Yahuwah will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. Now, we all know that many people have heard that conversation. Now, remember, vain means shah. That means falsehood, nothingness, empty of speech, worthlessness of conduct. See, a lot of individuals talk that, see, you saying Jesus, you taking his name in vain. Taking his name in vain is to profess that you serve the living Elohim, but live opposite of that. Proverbs 30 and Ezekiel 36 are pretty clear on that. Blaspheming and profaning this man's name. You take his name in vain. He's going to come see you about that. Guiltless here is nakah, and that means that you will not be pure, you will not be free, you will not be innocent, you will not be exempt from the obligation, you will not leave unpunished. You can drop down to probably about, because it's going through the 10, and we're not going to read all of that. You can drop down to verse 22. But you know what? Let's just do this anyway. Because you know about the Shabbat. We're not going to read that. But let's just read verses 16 on down. Because you need, and as a matter of fact, right? Let's just look at a key component right here in verse 14. Screw it. I'll read all of it. Verse 12, because there's a component in here and I desire to share. Keep the Shabbat to sanctify it as Yahuwah your Elohim have commanded you. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work. But the seventh day is the Shabbat of Yahuwah your Elohim. In it you shall do no work. You, nor your son, your daughter, your manservant, your maidservant, your ox, your ass, any cattle, stranger that is within your gates, manservant, maidservant, may rest as well as you. Well, look at what he says this. And remember that you was a servant in the land of Mizraim, that Yahuwah your Elohim brought you out from thence with a mighty hand and by stretched our arm. Therefore, Yahuwah your Elohim commanded you to keep the Shabbat. I want y'all to look at verses 14 and 15. And as you look at verses 14 and 15, what is the significance of when he tells you not to put your servants to work on the Shabbat, and then he tells you you need to remember that you were a servant in Egypt? Why is that important? You can give me the natural, you can give me the spiritual, you can give me your perspective and understanding as you see it at this moment. But at this present moment in time, share your thoughts. Share your thoughts. Are you reading? Oh, you know how to read. But I thought you knew how to read. I thought you were a reading baby. Are you a reading baby? Oh, you're still practicing. Oh, so you haven't mastered the text. But can you find the pages on your own? Can you find me the book of Deuteronomy? No, clearly not. Any of you have anything to offer in that regard? Look at verses 14 and 15 in the 5th chapter of Deuteronomy. Why does he make that statement in verse 15? It look like ain't nobody got nothing for me. Y'all ain't got nothing for me. I don't think they got nothing for me. So we're at 14:20. I give you 40 more seconds. I will do. You were made to work, so he delivered us from that, so you can serve him on Shabbat. And that is not a bad answer there, young lady. That is not a bad answer. hard labor, not being allowed time to serve Abba, so we rest in Yah to learn how to do the same so you can know your Elohim. That is not a bad answer either. Hey, where's my money? Where's my money? Don't make a fool of me, bro.
I am not.
Don't make a fool of me, bro.
If you call me bro, I'll be a boy, but I'm not a boy. I'm a bro.
Make a fool of me, bro. Where's my money?
I ain't getting any.
You got money for fake mustaches. What you got there? He gave us rest from our enemies just like in the latter times. That is a good answer as well. Let's come over here to Exodus chapter 2, verse 21. And say Moses was content. Hold on. I was saying that we were servants to sin and death, and bondage on the Shabbat. And that's a good answer as well. The Egyptians didn't allow their servants to rest. And that's no wrong answers here. None at all. None at all. Sean's got a little bit more where I was leaning towards, but they're all good. They're all good and acceptable. 2 and 21. Moses was content to dwell with the man, and he gave Moses Zipporah his daughter. She bare him a son and called his name Gershom, for he said, I've been a stranger in a strange land. And it came to pass in the process of time, the king of Mizraim died, the sons of Yasharal sighed by reason of the bondage, and they cried, and their cry came up unto Elohim by reason of the bondage. Elohim heard their groaning. Elohim remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And Elohim looked upon the sons of Yasharal, and Elohim had respect unto them. Now, remember, and trying to put it this here, right? You were servants to death and hard bondage while you were in Mizraim. And he was telling you to remember your servants and to not put them into that type of bondage, allowing them to rest. Now, I want you to look at something in this regard in the epistle of Titus. And I believe it is the third chapter, excuse me. I want to say it's the epistle of Titus. Is it the third? 3 and 1, if you would. Now, remember, as he just mentioned, right, it tells you that he that commits sin is the servant of sin. And therefore you are in bondage, and the Son shall make you free, and you shall be free indeed. And all those who come into Mashiach, they have rest. Because he said, come unto me, all ye that labor, and I will give you rest. Because Yahushua causes his servants to rest. They're not put to task to do any hard bondage. So when he's telling you to remember this here, because Elohim has remembered you and the ability for you to cease from your bondage. He wanted you to remember that in regards to your servants. See, it's a lot of times that a lot of people have said get some manner of authority. This is why in the epistle to Peter, he says that you should not rule over them with vigor and be an ensample. Because many people, see, there's a difference, right? I was listening to this here. This is totally, it's on point, but it's a little divergent matter. Thesis, if you would. Brother made a video. They were referring to Sierra. Sierra made mention that women should get a God-fearing man. Now, I know from being on this road for the last 12 years that it's a lot of things that I've seen. And one thing that I've seen is that women don't want a God-fearing man in any shape, form, and fashion in the overwhelming majority. Now, here's the reason why. Most women want a man who appears to be godly, but not live godly. Because if a man is an Elohim-fearing man, then he has a standard. And that standard is set according to the word of Elohim, which means there's accountability, there's rules, there's order, there's structure, there's rebuke, there's discipline. All of these things are contained in that, and it does not allow for the worship and capitulation to the female persuasion. Doesn't allow for that. Because if that man has reverence for Elohim, as Yahushua son of Nun put it, as for me and my house, we will serve Yahuwah. And that's something different. Because I've seen that firsthand. Women say that out of their mouth. And when I'm saying this here, this ain't for no natural woman now. If you got ears to hear, then I suggest that you hear, because a lot of people come and say they want to get somebody to teach them the word and direct them in the way that they should go, i.e. you want a God-fearing man, but in reality, you don't. You want someone who will justify you in your folly and your stupidity and never push you to actually keep the standard that is given, because there's order and discipline. And the average person walking this earth despises correction and discipline and structure in order because you can't do what you want to do. See, if you're dealing with a God-fearing man, you can't be selfish. See, if you're dealing with Elohim, if you're dealing with someone who is a servant of Elohim, who is sent to be a representative of him, a messenger of the law, as Malachi put it, and turning many souls unto life, that's not appeasing you. See, all of us want it because, see, a lot of people are tainted from the church and don't even realize it, is you wanted somebody to cater to your feelings. You don't really want it straight, and you really want to do what you want to do. And you don't see no problem with that. People really want to do what they want to do. Because if you give the average woman, and I'm talking about Western women, and it doesn't matter what race of woman that is, because a lot of people get stuck on that. I'm talking about Western women, a woman with a Western mindset, because women with an Eastern mindset do not think like this, because they have not been given the poison that Western society has given. That's why I shared that stuff in the chat with y'all about what dude was talking about with the fall of Rome. And I went and read some of his writings and the things that were going on in Rome before the fall of Rome, based off of his statements. And all of those things are what is going on in America right now as we speak. Like, can you I'm gonna read it to you in a minute because I feel like sharing because I've mentioned it. Like I said, she's mentioned that get you a God-fearing man. But all you see is women saying Hebrew men are this and Hebrew men are that. Some of these niggas is trash, but a lot of them, they're not going for your crap. See, a lot of people, you want a man to be a woman at the same time. And you want Yahuwah to be the same. Yahuwah is a merciful and compassionate Elohim. Of that we know. He is full of grace and mercy and forgives thousands of iniquity and transgression. But that man is not with the rallies, and he does not compromise his standard for anyone. For anyone. He didn't even do it for his son. How do y'all not understand that the book tells you to chasten your son while there is hope and spare not for his crying? And he chastened his own son and did not spare him when he cried out, my Elohim, why have you forsaken me? He did not stop chastising this man. He didn't say, oh, he crying, he done had enough. Absolutely not. Because my wrath will be satiated because you people have offended me. You flaunt my authority to my face. You worship other gods in my face. You disrespect and dishonor me constantly and consistently with no regard, and then have the unmitigated gall to say Elohim has forsaken the earth and he sees not. You know what I'm talking about? And you think he's supposed to stamp that. See, let's just put it in the context of how Western women think right now, because this is the mind of an Israelite, male or female. It is that it's actuality. Western culture only desires one way accountability, and it's not accountability that is rendered to a man. Because a man cannot do the things, because see, you're shamed. That's another conversation. We can talk about that. That's mother goddess worship to get you to worship man so that you can be like the Egyptian god Happy and be the androgynous god. You wonder why they keep pushing non-binary and gender confusion, because they want you to worship Happy. They want you to be like the Egyptian god Happy. That's Hapi. We've already went over him before. They want you to be the tranny god. I told you that before. Ain't no balance of male and female. Nigga, that's asinine. A man is a man and a woman is a woman. You can't be balanced as a man and being feminine and masculine at the same time. They don't exist in the same space. You're either masculine or you're feminine. You can't be both. That's nigga teaching. That's Ham teaching. That's what they teach over there in the land of Ham. And most of them people in the land of Ham were homosexuals, and their gods were homosexuals. But niggas don't want to have that conversation because niggas don't read. You don't study their God, so you don't know them niggas was punks. So why am I going to want to follow something about dudes who got humbled, who were penetrated by another man? And I got to say it like that because I'm trying to be disrespectful to their gods. Your God is a pillow biter, a rump ranger. Nigga, we don't respect that. We're not following that. We're not co-signing that. We're not riding with that. Why would I want to follow a God who pulled his penis out to masturbate and ejaculate on lettuce and then try to sodomize his uncle? But they taught female masculine. Man, get up out of here. At the end of the day, the man is supposed to lead, direct, chastise his household. When he spoke of Abraham, he said, I know him. He'll do justice and judgment and direct his house in the way of Yahuwah. That means he's going to order the house by discipline and structure. And when you have that, people don't want that because people want to do what they want to do. So when you do that, oh, you're a misogynist. You hate women. You this. Yahuwah called Yasharal out in every book of the law and prophets. Did he not? So I guess he was bashing a woman then. Because that's what people say when you hold people accountable. You hold a woman accountable for her actions, you bashing women. If you hold men accountable for their actions, you bashing men. Sound like a bunch of homemade people to me. People who are sensitive to the fact that your actions are trash. And you don't want nobody to point out that your actions are trash. So you want to try to play the victim and say you being bashed because then you don't have to modify your behavior. It's unacceptable. We ain't going for it. And real men don't go for it because we're going to do what Yahuwah does and he's going to remove himself from you. See, that the difference is you got people who chase after you to just change it. No, Yahuwah's not appeasing you. He's not doing it. He said, you give him the back, he's going to give you his back. He's going to walk away from you. Yes, if you see everybody say open rebuke is better than secret love, and you know what I'm saying, they're all a wise reproof, and people say all that stuff, but at the end of the day, people don't want to hear it. And again, I'm just telling you that a woman's actions is just macrocosmic and microcosmic of the behavior of the house of Yasharal as a whole. If you think the focus is just singularly on the female gender, that's a personal problem with you. You need to go see about that. If you want to say he hate women, then go by all means. But I like vagina, boy. I don't like men. I don't find them attractive. They don't turn me on. But I'm not finna not hold no woman accountable, whether that woman be Yasharal or a natural-born woman for the sake of her feelings, so I can seem to be accepted by the group. I don't care. Because Paul has already let that be known. If I sought to please men, I would not be a servant of Mashiach. We're not here to please men. We're here to please Elohim. That's where y'all got the game twisted at. Y'all don't serve Elohim. You don't love Elohim. You don't trust Elohim because you're here to please men. We're not here to please men. We are here to serve men the words of Elohim, fresh cooked up, straight off the brick. Bust him down and parse him out on the block. If it's too strong for you, then go buy the trash dope you've been smoking. Keep on going over there to that Babbage trap house you've been going to, getting that 7,000, that Babbage dope you love. Because if you come to this trap house, boy, we dropping the whole zone in the 6, man. 600 milliliter, man. If you're unadulterated cocaine, make your heart bust. You know what I'm talking about? But it's in a good way. But let's continue. I just had to let that be known. Let me read y'all that stuff what I was talking about with the gentleman from Rome. Let me read y'all that stuff from the gentleman from Rome. You can research this stuff for yourself. His name is Cato the Elder. His first statement was this, that a woman is a violent, uncontrolled animal, and it is useless to let go the reins and then expect her not to kick over the traces. What is his point? That if you relinquish the rule and authority of a woman, just know that she's not giving it back. That's what he's saying now. This is a long, long time ago. Let me tell y'all something, man, and y'all can look this up for yourself. Did y'all know they had child support in ancient Rome? Did y'all know they had child support in ancient Babylon? Now you got to ask yourself this question. Why in ancient societies did they have child support? Why did they have that? They actually had a law called the bachelor's law because men weren't getting married. They didn't want anything to do with the women at that time. And not just because the Romans liked booty hole. Because they had gave those women freedom and authority and power, and the women chose not to submit. They chose not to follow and cooperate, and the men said, we're straight. We don't want nothing to do with that. Because you can see that in Western society now. Women have been given freedom since the 1970s. They're not giving it back. I just heard a woman say when she hears the word submit, she feels like her power goes away. And that the man is not going to be the one teaching. She going to teach that man. And that women are leaders. And when he asked this woman, what do women lead? She had no answer. Because they're not giving that back. And now you look at the degradation and fall of society. It always comes when you give women unfettered freedom. See, why is that important? Because when you go look in that book of Judges, and there was no king in the house of Yasharal, what did the book of Judges say the people did? Everything that was right in their eyes. There was no one to moderate them. There was no one to rein them in. And when you gave them that license to do as they please, it was leading to the decay and the destruction of the people, and to Yahuwah put a stop to it by giving them what they asked for. Because every time he gave them a judge to save them from their enemies, they went right back to the same stuff because the judge was not ruling over them in that fashion. Samson wasn't moderating them people. Deborah wasn't moderating them people. Gideon wasn't moderating those people. See, that's going to hurt a couple people's feelings. Let your feelings be hurt. Let me finish this here, right? Woman is a violent, uncontrolled animal, and it is useless to let go the reins and then expect her not to kick over the traces. You must keep her on a tight rein. Women want total freedom, or rather to call things by their names, total license. If you allow them to achieve complete equality with men, do you think they will be easier to live with? Not at all. Once they have achieved equality, they will be your masters. What do you see in 2021? Women have been given equality and freedom, and they seek to be your masters. And you know what the beautiful thing of the word of Yahuwah is? You know when he turned around and told you that a woman would encompass a man and a woman would rule over you. And why would that woman rule over you? Because you gave her unfettered freedom and let her do it. This is why sin can rule over you. But that's another conversation. But let's look at some of this stuff, man. I don't want to share that with you. I might read some more of this stuff on tomorrow about from Cato the Elder. That's Cato. And you can look that stuff up for yourself. And this predicated the fall of Rome. Now, of course, there were many other factors that led to the fall of Rome. Overcolonization, wanting greed and mismanagement and the misappropriation of funds. But that also led to that because it led to, let me read you some of the stuff that they say was going on. Because that bio had a little bit more information about some other stuff. I just want y'all to hear some of the stuff that was going on in Rome at the time. Of course, Rome at that time in the 1st century BCE had so much prosperity that citizens, i.e. non-slaves, did not have to work. Because of this, children were growing up without fathers. Roman women showed little interest in raising their own children and frequently used nannies. Prostitution and homosexuality began to become widespread. It also began to, you can sit back and look at it, that's when the slutting around by women is considered the height of shameful behavior, and that came to be the point that it no longer was. As in 1st, 2nd century Rome, there was a scourge of single motherhood, free and easy divorce, and child support laws. This is what went down in ancient Rome. This is why sometimes it just definitely pays to look certain things up and see how things went down in history, because as the word says, there is nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun. Ain't nothing going on that has not went on before. But like I said, I can't find the other part of it, man. That's absolutely the same things that you're seeing now. And I said, we looked up stuff. There was child support laws in Babylon. Child support laws in Rome. The only way that can come is because the women are leaving. If the women are leaving, that means because the society allowed the woman to leave. Let me see if I can get that for you for child support laws in Rome. Now it tells you that this is a long article, we can't read all that, but it definitely tells you in ancient Rome that a husband had to pay back the dowry if he initiated a divorce. It's a lot of stuff, but we can't even go through that. It says in ancient Rome, a father couldn't even beat his own son. And all of these things, but we'd have to go because we'll be here all night reading. I have to go through that and pick out the key points that are necessary. But what we're talking about is this here. When you look, because a lot of people, when you promote the word Elohim and you live by it, you know the first thing modern women like to call you a misogynist, a patriarchy, destroy the patriarchy, because that means that men have to have rule and authority. And most women in this modern time do not want to be under the authority of a man, i.e., most people don't want to be under the authority of Elohim. Because if you come to that word, you're going to have to follow Elohim. And that's why people say, oh, that's the old time. That was in the Bible time. It's the same concept. It's not just a natural thing because men do it too. It could be. And the fact that they were nasty. I don't disagree with the fact that they raped those women during no festival because they were trying to humble them back down. But they're the ones who gave them that authority to begin with. Which is odd. I don't disagree with that though. I didn't want you to look at that, man. That's weird. Junk had me tripping. It's weird. See, the thing is that a woman doesn't believe that her power is in the role that Yahuwah has given. See, when I remember starting with this word, and some women would be like, well, what about the women? Because you want to be on equal footing with that man. You feel like you want to do what he does. So you don't view your role as being important. Why is that important? Because what does this world teach? See, the world teach women feminism, but the world teach man humanism, which is the same thing as feminism for a woman. If you don't know what humanism is, that's the teaching that man is God and therefore equal with the Most High. And that therefore you do not have to submit or follow him because you're your own God. It teaches you not to be subject to rule and authority. Humanism, read it, comes from Hermes, hermeneutics, all that stupid stuff. I mean, hermeticism, excuse me, not hermeneutics, that's something else. Hermeticism, all that stupid stuff. It's the same thing. That's why I mentioned it to you. What you see parallel in the natural, they do it in the spiritual. You ain't got to take my word for it. Take the time to read something other than entertainment. And don't watch a YouTube video, my nigga. Go read it. If you need to get up and go to the library, go. You're better served to stop, because the reason why they like to give you them YouTube videos, it dumbs you down. You know, there's nothing wrong with if you want to listen to it or listen to an audio. You know, audio books are cool. But the purpose of that is they want you to be entertained. I've told you this before. Education is not about entertainment. Education is about edification for elevation. If you're seeking to be entertained while being edified, then you will just be a useless eater, easily manipulated by the entertainment value of a person disseminating disinformation. Because you don't want to take the time and make the sacrifices and put the hours into research to be truly, that's what I'm looking for, an authority on what it is that you speak about. You know what I'm saying? To actually genuinely know that you took the time and vetted that information and got it from multiple different sources versus, oh, a nigga said it in a video. Now, I was listening to something where someone mentioned that, and I found a plethora of information on this topic of divorce in Rome and feminism in Rome in less than 2 minutes while sitting on a doggone exercise bike reading all this stuff. Like, very well then. Because when you look in our society, in our culture, in the land of Yasharal, we did not have those problems. because Yahuwah's word does not allow it. We had problems, but we didn't have those problems. We had a different set of problems. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have no problems where you saying, woman, go be free and do what you feel, and do what you wish. We can see that now. And again, you have to get your mind off a natural woman and just look at Yasharal as a whole. Because remember what he told you in Jeremiah 6:2. I consider the daughter of Zion a delicate, comely woman. And we behave that same way. And I keep telling y'all, if you see how the woman behaves, you need to look in the mirror and make sure that as a whole, you and the men you surround yourself with are not conducting yourself in the same way towards Yahuwah while seeking to castigate this woman for her conduct. Nevertheless, Titus, the epistle of Titus, 3:1. Put them in mind to be subject to principalities and powers, obey magistrates, be ready to every good work, to speak evil of no man, to be no brawlers, but gentle, showing all meekness unto all men. For we ourselves were also sometimes foolish, disobedient, deceived, serving diverse lusts and pleasures, living in malice and envy, hateful and hating one another. But after that, the kindness and love of Elohim, our Savior, towards man appeared, not by works of righteousness which we have done, but according to his mercy, he saved us by the washing, regeneration, and renewing of the Ruach HaKodesh, which he shed on us abundantly through Yahushua HaMashiach, our Savior, that being justified by his mercy, we should be made heirs according to the hope of eternal life. This is a faithful saying, and these things I will that you affirm constantly, that they which believed in Elohim might be careful to maintain good works. But the key component is that he knew that you were in bondage and a slave to your lusts and your sins and your wicked mind. And he set you free and he gave you rest. That was the point of what we was looking at in Deuteronomy 5. Come on back over here. We're in 5 and 16. Honor your father and your mother as Yahuwah your Elohim have commanded you, that your days may be prolonged and it might go well with you in the land which Yahuwah your Elohim gave you. You shall not kill. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You shall not desire your neighbor's wife. Neither shall you covet your neighbor's house, his field, his manservant, his maidservant, his ox, his ass, or anything that is his neighbor's. These words Yahuwah spake unto all your assembly in the mount of the midst of the fire of the cloud and of the thick darkness with a great voice, and he added no more. And he wrote them in 2 tables of stones and delivered them unto me. And it came to pass when you heard the voice out of the midst of the darkness, for the mountain did burn with fire, that you come near unto him, even all the heads of your tribes and your elders. And behold, Yahuwah our Elohim showed you his esteem and his greatness. And we heard his voice out of the midst of the fire. We have seen this day that Elohim do talk with man, and he live. You've seen that with Yahushua in the flesh. The Elohim talk with man, and man live. Let me show you why. John chapter 6 and verse 60. John chapter 6. Now, the word for greatness here in this passage is godel. And that is greatness, magnitude. You got Gamal, Dalit, and Lamad. You ponder upon that as we come over here to John chapter 6 and verse 60. The Allah, you have definitely seen the Elohim speak to man and live, and that he spoke to man out of the fire. And we'll deal with that in a moment as well. I also want to read Deuteronomy 32. I might do that quickly. John chapter 6 and verse 60. And the word godel is used in the same thing in that and the third. But you can get you Psalm 79 and probably about verse 5, though. John 6 and 60. Many therefore of his disciples, when they heard this, said, this is a hard saying, who can hear it? When Yahushua knew in himself that his disciples murmured at it, he said unto them, does this offend you? What if you shall see the Son of Man ascend up to where he was before? It is the Ruach that make alive. The flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are Ruach and they are life. Because Elohim speak to man face to face, and you live. See, a lot of us don't sit back and really understand that grace and mercy. Because a brother hit my phone that other day. Y'all already know that. Man, Abba can't come dwell on the earth and man live to talk about it. Not until all things are completed. Because he can't look at us. Psalm 79 and 5. And we don't really be on there, man. We got here playing games, man. out here playing games. I can remember my whole childhood always watching TV shows. Now I know what they were doing. Saying, what if God was a woman? How do you know if God's a man or not a woman? All of these things, because they were always pushing the veneration and the uplifting of the female principle. Not knowing to any of us, we're talking about in the 80s, not knowing to any of us that they worship the mother goddess. They want you to worship the female principle because the female principle is the weaker principle of the two. Again, as I stated before, they want you to bring together the masculine and the feminine so that you could be the divine hermaphrodite. Because see, Elohim is not divine masculine. Elohim is just Elohim. That's what we don't want to look at it. There's no divine masculine when it comes to Yahuwah. Yahuwah is just Yahuwah. Self-existing and self-sustaining. That ain't got nothing to do with being masculine. It's just ascribed to masculine men because masculine men sustain themselves. A masculine man is not self-existent because he does not exist on his own merit. See, that's another reason why, now that I think about it, it's come to my mind. Most people in this society don't like self-made men. The reason why they don't like self-made men, because self-made men have taken the time to build and create things of their own, and therefore they have exactments, demands, and requirements. Not just of their women, I'm talking about of their offspring, of their employees, of their friends. They can do that because they took the time to put in the work. If an individual was dealing with Yahuwah face to face, they would be offended at what he said in Isaiah chapter 40. Do you know what he said in Isaiah chapter 40, little Muffin? In Isaiah chapter 40, he said, which one of you men taught me knowledge and showed me the way of understanding? You would call him arrogant. Would you not? Would not people call him arrogant for talking like that? Let me read it to you if y'all know what I'm talking about. Because I feel like somebody like, I don't know what he's talking about. I'm over here at Isaiah 40. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Right here in Isaiah chapter 40, right here in verse 13, he said, who have directed the Ruach of Yahuwah, or being his counselor have taught him? With whom took he counsel? Who instructed him and taught him in the path of judgment and taught him knowledge and showed him to the way of understanding? But what are people out here doing? The woman, i.e. mankind, is trying to tell Yahuwah about understanding knowledge, righteousness, and all these things as if they taught him, as if they know better than him. That's the world you live in. I've told y'all this before. The world has tricked you and told you the woman is the first teacher, a lie from hell. The first teacher was Adam. When you're talking about flesh and blood, first teacher was Adam. The first person to ever teach any manner of instruction was Adam, not Eve. Y'all really believe that women sat down and taught the kids in the household? That's never been the way of Elohim in that culture. You know that of Abraham. He said, I know Abraham will teach his house justice and judgment. Why would a man send his wife to teach his children righteousness? Why would he put that in a woman's hands when the woman is being taught by him? That's why he told you that a steward must be found faithful. That's why Elohim don't give his word to any and everybody. Because you ain't going to be good with it. You ain't going to know what to do with it. You have to be a certain type of individual in your heart for him to give you that type of stuff to give it to somebody else. But see, if you say that, that's misogynistic. Man, nigga, shut your funky behind up. Nigga, don't want to hear that jump. That's why the people in the problem now. That's why your son is a buster. See, y'all say you want masculine men, but when men show forth the confidence and the assertiveness and the desire to stand up in the face of opposition for what is just, righteous, correct, and truthful, you don't want him to talk. So you're going to try to find ways to disparage his character because you don't really want the truth. And the book is consistent with that theme. Whether people are dealing with the word or not, people don't want to hear what's right. Because when you hear what's right, you have to deal with the identification of what's wrong with you. And instead of identifying and eliminating what is wrong so that you can be the peak version of yourself, i.e. being born again of Elohim and being a son or daughter of Elohim, you would rather poke holes in the person who is speaking. That's exactly what the scribes and Pharisees did to Yahushua, is it not? See, you think that we're saying these things, he just hates women. No, you're a jackass and you're stupid because you don't listen because your heart is granite. So the word ain't going to be able to penetrate that you can't see it's not a women issue. The woman is mankind, male and female. We all behaving this way. And we seek to justify ourselves in the midst of that behavior, expecting the outcome of righteousness, and get offended when someone tells you that you're not going to get it. You know, living for Elohim in this world and saying that I seek to do what pleases Elohim is what a modern woman would call a pick me. Why you want him to choose you? Why wouldn't I want him to choose me? You have to look at something. Sinners and bitter women alike have nothing to give to the person who desires something. So because they don't have anything to give and they don't want it, they don't want you to have it either. They don't want somebody who has the means and the direction and the wisdom and the guidance and the love to bestow that upon you, because they're not willing to do what's necessary in order to get it. So they will want to convince you for you not to do it, so you can't get it. You know what I'm saying? You got to pay attention to that. I use all these scenarios because what has Yahuwah done consistently by showing how he interacts with human beings? Always use the analogy of a father to his son and a man to his wife, because everybody can see it and relate to it. You can understand it when it's put into the terms of how our minds think. But we don't like it because that mirror come up and we got boogers in our nose. Psalm 79 and 5. It is a beautiful thing to be chosen. And any of you young ladies on here who ain't married, and you hear these hoes talking about don't be a pick me, you tell that lonely hoe, you get away from women like that. If you know men want certain things, then why wouldn't you be those things so you could be chosen to have a man who will love you, protect you, teach you, guide you, nurture you, and love you? You know how stupid you got to be to say you're not going to do something to get the things you say you desire because you want a nigga to love you as you are when he's telling you what you are, I don't want? Put it this way. How many of y'all have had somebody bring you food that they know you didn't eat and got mad at you because you didn't eat it? When they already knew explicitly, I don't eat broccoli. I don't like it. I like carrots. They know you like carrots. You're going to eat this broccoli. I don't like the color blue. I like orange. You're going to wear this blue shirt because I bought this blue shirt. You're going to love this blue shirt because you just going to love it, or you ain't going to get nothing at all. Do you know how vain, selfish, and arrogant that is for someone to have that type of attitude? Do you understand how vain, selfish, and arrogant that is? That you're going to tell somebody that what they don't want, they should want. But if somebody tried to make you want something that you didn't want, you would cry foul. The hypocrisy. Ain't that right, little Muffin? That's right. Tell him again. That's right. You gonna tell him again? Very well then. Psalm 79 and 5. How long, Yahuwah, will you be angry forever? Shall your jealousy burn like fire? Pour out your wrath upon the heathen, they have not known you, and upon the kingdoms that have not called upon your name. For they have devoured Jacob and laid waste his dwelling place. Oh, remember not against us former iniquities. Let your tender mercy speedily prevent us, for we are brought very low. Help us, O Elohim of our salvation, for the esteem of your name. Deliver us and purge away our sins for your name's sake. Wherefore should the heathen say, where is their Elohim? Let him be known among the heathen in our sight by the repenting of the blood of your service, which is shed. Let the sighing of the prisoner come before you according to the greatness of your power. Preserve you those that are appointed to die. Well, y'all already know how he preserved the prisoner. Now, remember, I mentioned those characters, Gamal, Dalit, and Lamad. So we can already see that the messenger was the shepherd, or the messenger, Yahusha, was chastised by hanging. And through that chastisement of hanging, the greatness of his power to deliver those who are appointed to death comes through the resurrection of the dead. That is an example of that, by celebrating Christmas and then expecting him to accept something that he does not want. But even with that, because that's a good scenario when we look at it on the surface, but when we pull it out from underneath, because that's definitely accurate on the surface. But we know, who are they worshiping on Christmas? Do you know?
Idols.
Idols. Do you know which idol? His name is Saturnalia. Do you know what Saturn is? Allegedly, it's a planet. Allegedly. You know what allegedly means? That means it's supposed to be a planet. But we don't believe that there's any planets because the texts say that planets are stars, constellations. Do you know what a constellation is? That is a cluster of stars in the sky, like Orion's belt or the dog star, i.e., the North Star. But that's neither here nor there. Saturnalia, or Saturn, is what? A god of the sky who most people in the quote unquote entertainment business worship and honor. A very, very wicked deity, if you would. And in reality, you're serving another man and giving him the honor that he loves and esteems. But as Rhonda put it, you're telling another man that the love you have for this man, he should take. Because this man over here takes it, even though that man put your name on it and said you like it, you should take it too. No. See, the problem is a lot of people ain't dealt with no man. Men don't take stuff they don't want. Men don't take stuff that they don't want. If a man doesn't want something, he's not accepting it. When you deal with a man who accepts things that he doesn't want, you're dealing with a simp. And when I say simp, meaning someone who esteems someone greater than himself. Yahuwah does not esteem us greater than himself. What do you think I can't cut off? That's why he killed Abel. Because Yahuwah said, boy, I'm not taking that, boy. I'm not taking that. See, if you put that in the construct of how Yahuwah operate with flesh and blood, you see why people hate Yahuwah so much. When you bring forth that word, because Yahuwah's not taking what he don't want. They'll tell you, now y'all religious extremists, y'all don't want to accept homosexuals because the man's not taking it. He's not taking out of wedlock children. He's not taking adulterers and adulteresses. He's not taking whoremongers. He's not taking it. He's not taking idolaters. He's not taking angry and violent men. He doesn't want it. You're not going to bring him those sacrifices and say, this is who I am. And if you can't pick me for who I am, that you ain't going to have anything at all. He's not going to have it. But see, you know what the worst part is? Satan will take that. You have to ask yourself this question. Why would you want someone who would take unacceptable conduct? Why would you want somebody to take that? Why would you have it in your mind that you are not the best version of yourself? And that you don't have to be the best version of yourself because somebody gonna love me for me. Well, who you are is trash, clearly, because no one has chosen to love you for it. And again, when I say trash, meaning useless, Belial, if you will, basura. You know what I'm saying? You gotta ask yourself that. When you hear somebody say somebody gonna love me for me, and they've had experience dealing with a multitude of people in a lifetime, and no one has loved that, that means clearly, baby, that might not be lovable. That might not be lovable, baby. You might need to choose a different course of action because we know that the things that he say defile a man that come from out the heart, those things ain't lovable to Allah. He don't love that. Come over here to Mark chapter 7 and see what I'm talking about. And say he don't love that, baby. Mark chapter 7. Verse 18. And he said, unto him, are you not without understanding? Do you not perceive that whatsoever thing from without enter into the man and it cannot defile him? because they enter not into his heart, but into the belly, and go out into the draught and purging all meats. That is correct, sir. Amen. That's why it is easy to serve them. They got a home for you for sure. That's right. You can serve them false gods because they'll take you however you are. They don't care. They don't care. You don't want somebody who'll take you as you are. That's hoe talk. Guess what? Guess who came up with that? Love me as I am, but don't love me at all. Mary J. Blige, a woman who was with junkies and bum niggas and grown women singing that junk. Like, this woman has never chosen a good man. She is not the authority to speak on that. This is a 50-plus-year-old woman still gallivanting around like it's 1992 with the first Mary J. album talking about you remind me. Baby, it's over for you. It's over. Nobody wants you. I've told y'all this numerous times. This goes the same if you are serving an Elohim. Good men don't get rid of good women. If you're a good woman, I guarantee you a man gonna recognize that, snatch you up, and hold on to that. But the thing is that, as we discussed last week, women are born with inherent value. So therefore, because they don't have to earn that value, you overinflate your value and how good you actually are. Because you found out you were an Israelite, you feel like you were born with inherent value, and therefore you have actually overinflated how valuable you really are. Because a man is not born with any value. He must earn his value through his labor. All those who have taken hold to the hem of the garment of the Shiach have decided to take that stake and put it upon their shoulder and labor with it, that they might be crucified with him. Therefore, they have acquired value through the actionable works of faith. And that's the difference from somebody boasting that they're an Israelite, because you feel like you have value and you overinflate how valuable you are. That is something that we all must weigh and consider. Because again, a man has no value. You got to, and I'm telling you this because Yahusha was born simply a man. This was Elohim in the flesh, but he was born of a woman. This man was born, to tell you that in Galatians chapter 4, he was born of a woman. He was the son of Adam. He had no value. He did not begin to attain value until he began to be about his father's business. When he became about his father's business, this is how his value increased. See, the scribes and Pharisees and the high priests, they felt like they had inherent value because they were of the priestly tribe. So therefore, they overinflated their value because they thought they were better than what they were. This is why they said the things that they said, that you caused the commandments of Elohim to be of no effect by your tradition, because you felt like this man should take what you have, what you want to give him, because you are valuable. Oh man, that junk tight now. That junk hardcore is gonna make you consider. You either gonna think I don't like this nigga, or you gonna see it and understand and see the works of Elohim is manifested in front of us in all manner of interaction of human beings, whether it be from man to woman, child to parent, friend to brother, friend to friend, sibling to sibling. The works and understanding of Elohim are manifested in everything that he has put his hand on to create. You look out at the stars, the sun and the moon, the trees and the plants of the past, and you can see the greatness of the works of Elohim manifested before your eyes. Let his name be esteemed. Let's come on, keep on rolling. And it's Mark chapter 7 and 20. And he says, that which come out of the man, that defile the man from within. Out of the heart of men proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within a man, from within, and defile the man. See, all these things come out, and we feel like he's supposed to take that. He said, if you do well, shall you not be accepted? But if not, sin lie at the door. Who determines what's well but the man who's buying? Yahuwah is the one purchasing. Women want men. You know the one thing that bothers women the most? You can't dictate what men want to marry. And it irks your soul. See, you can dictate who get in your monkey, so you can pick whatever type of man you want to play and tickle your twine. But when it comes down to a man say, I'm willing to lay my life down for this woman and cause her to benefit from my resources, from my wisdom, from my understanding, from my direction, you got to get that man what he wants. And if you're not what he wants, he's not going to pick that. And that irks the soul of many people on this earth. The same way it irks the soul of them dealing with Yahuwah. You got to get a man what he wants. You got to get a man what he wants. You got to give him what he wants. You got to give him what he delights in. And why is that the case? Because that's what happens when you give women freedom. And when I say women, I ain't talking about somebody who got a vagina. Because guess what you got in this world? What is America based on? Religious what? Freedom, personal freedom, 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 freedom. When you give somebody freedom, they tell you that you got to take what I'm giving. And when that person don't take what you giving, they find offense in it. They find offense in it. See, you got to have understanding and wisdom, man. You can't just be walking around here floating around in life stupid. You got to be able, I told you this before, you got to be able to take your son, how Killer Priest put it on the record back in the day, and take your son and bring him out on the front porch and say, son, let me school you with my whip. See, most of us ain't even had that opportunity in life to know what it is to have an uncle, a granddaddy, a daddy, who on a nice, warm summer evening, you know what I'm talking about, would tell your son, come outside out here and sit with me, boy. And he's sending you out there to sit you down and give you some game for life. You know what I'm talking about? Some of you, they ain't never had no big brothers, no big cousins, no big homies in your neighborhood. Well, they ain't, oh, let me tell you about these hoes, this, that, and the third. Now he bringing y'all here, boy, let me give you some game and take with you for a lifetime. Let me give you something that you can give to your son when it's time for you to have one. Man, we can't get him cheering up with sports and entertainment. Nigga, we so cornered while we all doing generational wealth. You don't even take the time to even learn economics and finance to even give them palatable information as it pertains to that. We live in a microwave society. You don't have anything tangible. You got to understand something. Wisdom and understanding doesn't just last with you. It goes for generations. Because it gets passed, the info gets passed down. It gets passed down, it gets disseminated. When you have something tangible to give, a piece of you goes with every individual you come across. That's why the gospel is put that way. Because when the word is in you, a piece of Elohim is in you. Whomever you give the gospel to, you gave them a piece of the Lord so they could give it to somebody else. Oh, man. They don't hear me, though, man. I got off on the beaten path just a tad. But thank the Lord. Back to Proverbs 27:19. For why we even here tonight, they thank the Lord. Whoso keep the fig tree shall eat the fruit thereof, so he that wait on his master shall be honored. Oh, they can't smoke that, man. You ain't lying, man. You already know what it is, my nigga. You know what I'm talking about? But come on back over here to Luke chapter 13, though. You already know what it is, my nigga. You know what I'm talking about? That's hard. That hard. I just hear you see, you gotta see a lot of niggas they don't smoke that killer. They don't like that Cali bud. You know what I'm saying? Some dude they like to smoke that backyard boogie. At homegrown. See, when you're dealing with the words of heaven, you're dealing with the best. That's the crazy part. You want the best, but you don't want to be the best. The best ain't finna choose nothing less. Not they don't have to. They don't have to. But you know what? People know that. That's why they would rather ridicule the best instead of becoming the best. You know what I'm talking about? You'd rather talk bad out. And out of anything, you can pull all that other stuff out to play. But all that conversation about high value men or high value men, this, that, and the third, that's what that has shown. Now, when you're dealing with the best, you got to be the best. And when you don't want to be the best, you would rather tear down the best to make them equal to you because you don't want to do what they did to be the best. That's what the scribes did to the Lord. They didn't want to do what he did to be the best. All he did was trust God. That's all he did. Trust God, served him, and gave him what he wanted. He put in the work to be the best. They say, who is this man? I said, ain't nothing but a carpenter's son. They say, where he get this wisdom from? Who is he to talk to us like that? Where does he come from? Who do he think he is? Or if he the son of God, come down from that tree. You saved others, you can't even save yourself. All because he was willing to be the best. People don't like the best. They envy the best because they wish they could be them, but they don't want to do the work. That too, because to be the best, you have to have a structure. You can't be the best living willy-nilly, moving on a whim. There has to be a system and a structure, a framework of what you operate in order to be the best. And what I told you before, when you're the best, you have standards and requirements, and you don't lower them. You don't have to because of the years of labor that you put in. You got too many people who sorry, lazy, irresponsible, undisciplined, and feel they are entitled to the benefits of greatness. That's why the book keeps telling you about his grace and his mercy. You're not entitled to that. He gave you that because that's who he is. That's more about him than it is about us. And we can't even respect that. Amen. That's a true story. We don't even respect that. We don't even realize how great of an Elohim is, how great of a God Yahuwah is. Everything he does is indicative of his character. But that man got rules. That man got standards. He's not lowering them. He's not. And he'll tell you to your face. He told you to your face, you a dumb hoe. Did he not? Right in Ezekiel. I read it to you all the time, not because he called you a contrary whore, but for you to see how direct and plain that he was disgusted with your conduct, and he told you to your face. You bust your feet to everybody that passed by. You give gifts to all whores, but you give your gifts to your lovers and get nothing in return. If a man was to say that about a flesh and blood woman right now who did the same thing, they say he bashing women and he hate women. You niggas hate God, may you burn in hell if you don't repent. That's what you really saying. Ain't about no woman. You hate God at the end of the day. You hate God at the end of the day. And if you think I'm talking about a natural born woman, you's a plumb dumb fool. People hate Elohim. You know how many times we could go on this text and this man go off on people, and if he was to say that to a real person, you say he bashing. And this the woman he loved. Let that sink in your brain. Man say, I spread my hands out all the day to a gainsaying people, and they provoke me to my face continually. And all he wanted you to do is what this search said is choose life, but you chose death and made a covenant with it, and what hell you had agreement. Because guess what? When you give people freedom, they agree with death. You look at all the things that women like to do in Western society, and it's an agreement with death. And they take refuge in lies, and they love lies that don't profit. Now let's look at Yasharal, aka Black people in the United States of America, and we make our refuge in lies. And we love to participate in things that have no profit. And we love death, perpetrated and perpetuated every single solitary day, in every movie and every song and everything that we love and condition ourselves to promote. We love death. But you think it's about a natural born woman. Think on, young player. Think on. But again, if you don't repent, you're going to die just like the people I'm talking about. And that's what we started off in Luke 13. Let the Lord be praised. Let Elohim in the name of Yahushua be praised. He is worthy of praise, and he is worthy alone. We speak of his righteousness and his righteousness only. No one is righteous before his sight, but those who dwell in Yahushua HaMashiach. If you are outside the dwelling place of the Lamb, you are outside of righteousness. I would behoove you to do all things necessary to repent and believe the gospel of the living Elohim, that your soul might be delivered, because there's a day of restitution and your soul shall be required. 13:6, book of Luke. He spake also this parable. A certain man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard. He came and sought fruit therein and found none. Then he said unto the dresser of his vineyard, behold, these 3 years I come seeking fruit on this fig tree and find none. Cut it down. I cumber it to the ground. He answering said unto him, Lord, let alone this year also, till I shall dig about it and dung it. And if it bear fruit, well. But if not, after that, you shall cut it down. See, the person who's guarding the fig tree, they're doing the thing necessary for that tree to be able to produce fruit. Excuse me. I want you to come to 2 Kings chapter 19. Dang, my back. No, it ain't that. I just done moved wrong, and now there's what would be considered to be a crook, I guess, in my trapezus on the right-hand side. Let's see what verse I want. We go straight to 29 because we ain't gonna read all that long. Because we want to just talk about things dealing with fig trees. I know it's some stuff in Songs of Solomon too that we need to go back and revisit. But I just go where the word takes us. Only you will be praised. 19 and 29, and this shall be the sign unto you, you shall eat this year such things as grow of themselves. We discussed that before. Because didn't he tell you that about that tree in Genesis chapter 1? About a tree that is of itself, and its fruit is of it after its own kind. See, when you're dealing with Yahusha grows of himself. Because he was the word made flesh. Now remember, if you recall grow, remember that's safak, that is that spilled kernels after growth. A volunteer plant. Y'all remember that we was looking at that in Leviticus? Y'all remember that? That which grown of his own accord. See, we want to seek to be that aftergrowth, that volunteer plant, or grow from a spilled kernel, or that spilled seed, or there was a man who sowed seed, and that seed is the word of Elohim. So we want to eat of such things that grow of the word, and that is Yahusha himself. That's where he grew from. Let's take a look at that. I'm already in the book of Luke. Come over here to Luke 8 and 10. And that's just for those who may not be aware of what I'm referring to while I'm going and take a look at it. Luke 8 and 10. And he said unto you, is it given to know the mysteries of the kingdom of Elohim, but to others in parables, that seeing they might not see, and hearing they might not understand. Now the parable is this: the seed is the word of Elohim. The seed is the word of Elohim. This is that spilled kernel in the ground. Now let's look at John chapter 12 on general principle. John chapter 12, verse 21 or 20. And there were certain Greeks among them that came up to worship at the feast. The same came there to Philip, which was of Bethesda of Galilee, and desired him, saying, Sir, we will see Yahusha. Philip come and tell Andrew, and again Andrew, Philip tell Yahusha. And Yahusha answered them, saying, the hour is come that the Son of Man should be esteemed. Truly, truly, I say unto you, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abide alone. But if it die, it bring forth much fruit. Again, it's talking about you going to eat the fruit of the land that grows of itself, or the safak, that which is a volunteer plant. See, when you look at that word, see, you have to volunteer the word into your heart. You have to allow it to enter. Most people don't let it enter. So therefore, it doesn't bring forth fruit to perfection. See, now again, you're looking at this here, right? He said, except it fall on the ground and died, abide alone. That is true story. That's only the sheep is the only ones who hear his voice. So by proxy, again, indeed, they are the only ones who are going to bear fruit, because that's that fig tree. That's why you're faithful to the fig tree. Because what did we read in Luke 13? He say, let him do to the fig tree. He said, till I dig about it and dung it. Let's look at that in the Hebrew, not in the Greek. Well, let me see what it say in the Greek first. Let's do that. Dig about it and dung it. He said, let it alone this year so I can do the work for it. Now, when you got dig, you have scopto, which of course is to simply dig. And we'll look at that in a moment. And then you have dung it. Now you have balo copria. Balo is to throw or let go of a thing without caring where it falls. To scatter, to throw, to cast into. So with that, that's to scatter seed. When it says to dung it, that's the balo. Copria is dung or manure. So where are you sending that at? You're casting the seed into the what? The ground. Because dung and manure is, for those of you who are well more versed in farming than I am, is fertilizer. And where is the dung and manure found? In the ground, is it not? So he's telling you, scatter the seed. Let me scatter seed. Let me dig a hole and scatter seed. Now let me show you something. His fourth is dig, because now I know what Hebrew word I'm going to want for dig. It's already in my mind. I know exactly what chapter I'm going to desire, but let me see if there's going to be anything with the actual. See, it's not going to have nothing that I desire for that. So you need to come over here to Numbers 21, if you would, for me, please. Numbers 21, if you would, for me, please. Thank the Lord. 21 and 16. And from this they went to Peer, that is the well where Yahuwah spake unto Moses, gather the people together, and I will give them water. Yasharal sang this song, spring up, O well, sing you unto it. The princes digged the well. The nobles of the people digged it by the direction of the lawgiver with their staves, and from the wilderness they went to Mattanah. Now, when you deal with this dig, that's going to be something that requires you to search. If you recall, you have Parah in regards to dig, and you have kafar in first one. Let's look at the first one. That's kafar. That's to search for, to search out and explore. Kot, pay, and rosh. Somebody separated by the words of the highest. You're going to have to search that out. See, remember what he tell you, Paul, Jeremiah 17. Jeremiah 17. And why is this important? Because when that seed is scattered, because remember what he said, right? He said, don't cut it down, right? He said, I need to dig it. I need to search it out. I need to explore it. That's what he said, right? And then he said, I need to dung it, or I need to cast seed into the ground. Let's look at what Jeremiah 17 and 9 say. You know what? Because I feel good this evening. Thank the Lord. 17 and 5, because I feel good. I feel like sharing that. Now, the other word for dig, I give you that right now. You can leave number 21 because that is sufficient for me. That is karab. That is also to dig or to excavate through. That is kaf, rosh, and hay. And you can behold the subdoing of Yahusha. Because once you done searched out and explored, we're going to see if you believe that that man was killed and resurrected on the third day. Because all that believe and confess, believe in their heart and confess with their mouth shall be saved. But you know what happens? People don't believe. 17 and 5, book of Jeremiah, if you would. Thus saith Yahuwah, cursed be the man that trusts in man and make flesh his arm, whose heart depart from Yahuwah. First thing first. That's what taking us back to the beast. Don't make that man your arm. When he say arm, he's talking about that right arm, or the right arm of salvation. See, it's not telling you that you can't have trust in a man. You don't trust men for your salvation. You don't trust men for your salvation. Because none of us are the right arm of Yahuwah, like we read in Exodus chapter 15, when he said through his great, the excellency of his greatness, he dashed in pieces the enemy. Praise the Lord. Let's continue. For he shall be like a heath in the desert, and shall not see when good come, but shall inhabit in the parched lands in the wilderness, and a salt land not inhabited. Baruch is the man that trusts in Yahuwah, whose hope Yahuwah is. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters that spread out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat come. But her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? I, Yahuwah, search the heart. I try the reins to give every man according to his works, according to the fruit of his doings. Well, we just seen about the fig tree. If the fig tree ain't bringing forth no fruit, what he said, cut that hole down and burn him. And why did he cut it down and burn him? Because he said a corrupt tree can't do what? Bring forth no fruit. So why can't the corrupt tree bring forth fruit? Because when he digged and dunged it, when that word came root, that word dropped in there, and there was either vines there by the wayside or amongst the stones, and it choked it off. It wasn't good ground because that person did not take that word and let it die in their heart in order to produce the fruits of the ruach, which is what? Patience, love, peace, self-control, meekness, and all of these other things. See, I see somebody says right here, right? Young lady I know, she don't like to fool with niggas in the world because she feel like the niggas trash. But she shared something that a brother said that don't get rid of a man of the Most High. And she was like, most of these niggas are not men of the Most High. And she's right. And you know why she's right? Because we feel like somebody's a man of the Most High because he talks the word, but not that he lives it. And when we're talking about live it, like actually having genuine love, mercy, and compassion for anyone they come across, not just the people they like. See, a man can't say he a man of the Most High, he don't love his wife. Because the books say that this man loved his wife. A man can't say he a man of the Most High and he don't love his brother when he gave the instruction that you should love one another. This is how the world gonna know you, my Taladim, you the ones I taught. He said, we can't say we men of the Most High when he say you see how you see your brother in need and your bowels of compassion are not moved upon him. But see, we like to live in a perpetual state of victimhood. And you want someone to love you as being a victim. And I'm here to tell you, man and Elohim find that disgusting. No one of any level of honor and respect wants to be with anyone who dwells in a perpetual state of victimhood. It is vile, it is disgusting, and it is offensive. Because people of honor never see themselves as victims. They see themselves being falling prey to certain situations and circumstances and then begin to make the moves necessary to alleviate themselves from that situation and circumstance. Why do you say we the people of Elohim, but yet you steady screaming about what the police do to you and racism? Why are you still living as a victim? When you were son of Elohim, the son of Elohim was crucified by men, yet never opened his mouth speaking as a victim. This man was walking around with people who wanted to kill him before they killed him and never walked around in a perpetual state of victimhood. And ain't nobody doing none of that to you for speaking righteousness now, not just existing, for saying what's right according to the words of his Abed Shamahim, and he never conducted himself as a victim. The apostles were beaten and stoned and imprisoned and never conducted themselves as a victim. Yet we say we are the descendants of these men and we are their progenitors, and yet we conduct ourselves as victims. It's unacceptable. Abraham never conducted himself as a victim. This man was wronged by people. Jacob was wronged by his own father-in-law and never conducted himself as a victim. Never, not once. Joseph was sold into captivity by his own brothers and never conducted himself as a victim. And these were men who were victimized. You understand me? These were men who were victimized. And he's sitting talking about them Egyptians doing the dirty. Why you think Yahuwah kept getting upset when Moses started going to talk to these people? Because they wanted to remain victims even after Yahuwah was consistently showing his power that he is going to deliver them. Man, they gonna beat us, bro. They making us work harder. That's why he was disgusted. I'm talking about Yahuwah. Why you think that's part of the reason why those people died in the wilderness? They wanted to be victims. Victims murmur and complain. Yahuwah said, don't murmur and complain. Men of honor and royalty and regalness don't do that. That shows that we're not men of the Most High because you don't have the mind of the king. The king is not a victim. That doesn't mean that you can't speak up on oppression. That does not mean that you don't stand up for the afflicted. That doesn't mean you don't stand up for the oppressed, but you don't conduct yourself like a victim, nor allow them to wallow in victimhood. See, you got to know the difference. See, you think I say that, that means that you just turn an eye to oppression. No, 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 no. But you don't sit back to my man, why do people keep killing us, man? When you open your mouth and say, oh, I bet they wouldn't do that to a white man, you lose respect in the eyesight of all men in the earth. Because that's what victims do. Because you're comparing yourself to someone else. And saying, if I was like them, I wouldn't get done like that. You're telling men worldwide you're not worthy of respect and honor. But see, we don't know that because nobody's telling you how to be a man or how men conduct themselves. Men do not worry about what other races of men do. They worry about what they do for themselves, for their families, and for their brethren. I don't care what white men are doing. I don't care what Asian men are doing. I don't care. You know why I don't care? Because they don't care what I'm doing. And I'm not mad at them for not caring. Because they're supposed to care about their own, like men are supposed to. That's not a knock on them. Oh, white people only care about white people. Who they supposed to care about? Why are you ridiculing them for being a natural person? That's why they shoot you that narrative. White men love white women. No, they don't. All races of people overwhelmingly marry people who look like them. Overwhelmingly. And they're not wrong for that. I'm not going to look at no white man and say why he want to be vested in the interests of white America because he racist. Why he don't want to do something for black. That's what niggas say, is it not? He's supposed to care about his own kind. Yeah, you're going to turn around and say you unapologetically black, but you want other people to be unapologetic, to be apologetically white. How does that work? You're a victim. You're not a ruler. You don't have a mind of royalty in your brain. Because I'm not mad at that man if he come up with systems and plans for the benefit of his own people. That's what men do. I'm not looking for them to do anything for me. Why would I? Why would I? You only look for that because you want to be him. That's why you look to the system. That's why you look to Satan, because you want to be the adversary. You don't want to be Elohim. Come on, man. We done read it too many times. But when they told him Herod was going to kill the Lord, what the Lord said? You go tell that fox this right here. One day, 2 days, boy, I got to walk through Jerusalem for a prophet perish up out of here. I don't know what y'all telling me about what he talking about for. When Pilate said, don't you know I got power to let you go? Oh, boy, you ain't got power to do nothing. Nothing. You don't read him talking about, oh, the Romans over there doing this. When you reading that book, them boys were going around teaching them other things. Well, they boys say, well, they teaching us stuff that ain't awful to be in Romans. The boys, they say, when Paul ran up on them boys on Mars Hill, he said, well, y'all boys do superstitious. Y'all boys, wow. All he was talking about was the gods what they worship. I don't care what you people over here doing outside of this sin and idolatry you got going on. I don't care what you do. I'm trying to save your soul and get you in the house of Elohim. See, we don't have that brain because you want to be inclusive. And why don't the government? I don't need the people to do nothing. You a man, ain't you? See, you want to say you a man, but then you want another man to build up your own people. How are you a man? They don't do nothing for black people. Why you want them to? You say you come from kings and queens. What nigga, show it then? Show it then. Kings build, kings sacrifice, and benefit their people. How do we know? Because Yahushua built a house on a strong upon a strong foundation, which is him being slaughtered from the foundation of the world through the faith and trust in the words of his father, that he would not suffer his Kadash one to see corruption, and that good old seed sprouted up on the fruit under everlasting life to be a benefit to all those who took hold of him to enter into his household. That man is not concerned. He said, without a dog, sorcerers and murderers, idolaters, and everyone that loveth and maketh a lie. That man don't give a damn about nobody who outside his household. If you don't want to trust in the words of the living Elohim and forsake sin, then what I got ain't no benefit to you. And I don't care what you do outside these gates. It's none of my concern. He's only concerned with the benefit and profit of those who have entered into the gates of the city so that they may have right to the tree of life. I'm not concerned with those who rejected their own salvation and hate their own soul. So why should I be concerned with it? But see, you look at it, that's a knock. It's not a knock to white folks, man. They supposed to build their own. You get mad why black people selling stuff to white folks. Who cares why he sold it? If he was able to get 500 million, and I'm not saying that because these dudes are doing that, because we know these dudes are not doing that. But if these dudes was able to get 500 million from some proceeds and bring it back to the hood, why you kept it? Now just imagine, this is you who was doing this, why doesn't it happen? Just imagine if all these celebrities that you niggas love and worship brought that money back to their own people and say, boy, it's time to do this here and do that there. See, then you'll be New Jack swinging on their nuts. See, the only reason why y'all don't like the New Jack swing on these people nuts because they're not giving you what you want. Because we feel like we're entitled to these men riches for the labor that they put in. Whether they sold their souls and did some strange things for a change or not, it don't take the fact that them niggas put in some work and made some sacrifices and did things that you were not willing to do. Not outside the wicked side. Because all that's alleged. We don't know what them people do for certain. We know they do some things, but we don't know who did what, when, and with whom. You know what I'm saying? I'm not dealing with that part. I'm just talking about the actual, whatever it is. If they went to acting school, if whatever they did, they were willing to do something you weren't. I know he could tell you that man was in the music business outside of the wicked part. That man knows he's seen the work that men have to put in to be successful. You just ain't successful because you sell your soul. Nigga, you still got to put in some work. Still got to go on tour, still got to hit that studio, still got to write them rhymes. You still got to do all of that. You still got to perfect your craft. Now you just get a little extra bump when you're willing to look through the eyes of Pan. Don't look through the eyes of Pan, everybody. Pan don't love you. That's what was in that article about they want to teach sex ed to kindergartners. Teach them how to be pansexuals. That's what it said. Say they want to teach elementary age children about anal, oral, and vaginal sex. Yeah, man, it's rough out here, man. That's the world we in, y'all. That is the world we in. Come on back to 2 Kings 19. That's the world we in. What a 5-year-old need to know about vaginal sex for? Screw vaginal, anal, and oral. Now your little kid coming, your kids coming home talking about fellatio. Get them ready. Get them ready. Not ready for each other. Ready for the world. Whoever coming behind, don't fall for it, baby. Let's roll this here, 1929, 2 Kings. And this shall be inside unto you. You shall eat this year such things as grow up themselves. And the second year, that will spring of the same. And the third year, sow you and reap and plant vineyards and eat the fruits thereof. Didn't it say that him that keep the fig tree will eat the fruit thereof? So you got to take root downward to bear fruit upward. Come on, that's 2 Kings 19, man. The word of Yahuwah is a beautiful thing. Verse 30, and the remnant that is escaped of the house of Yehudah shall take root downward and bear fruit upward. What does that take us back to? You got to take root downward. You got to dig and dung it. Seed got to be scattered because the seed got to take root in the ground and bear fruit upward. You're going to have to sacrifice and be baptized in the death of Mashiach to be raised up in the likeness of his resurrection to bear fruit upward. Or you're going to be that fig tree with no fruit and he's going to say cut it down and burn it. Matter of fact, John 15, because he says it again. I praise you in the name of Yahweh. Let his name be esteemed. Let his word be brought forth. Let the hearts of men be convicted that they may repent and give esteem and praise to the only Elohim, the Elohim of heaven and earth, and the creator of all things. And let them all worship him in the faith and kadoshness and fear of Elohim through Yahushua HaMashiach. And if not, may the wrath of Elohim rest and abide upon their head until there be no solution or remedy, until they be utterly destroyed and removed from off the face of the earth. John 15:1. I am the true vine, and my Abba is the husbandman. Every branch in me that bear not fruit, he take away. Every branch that bear fruit, he purge it, that it might bring forth more fruit. Notice what he said, right? Every branch in him that don't bear fruit, he's going to take it away. Remember, right? He searched the heart and tried the reins to give every man according to his fruits thereof. And if he's coming to you, the fig tree, and there ain't no fruit, well, he gonna curse you. Hold on one second, because we might as well read it. Come back over here to Luke, I believe. What's her problem? She tired and she doesn't know it. Why you fighting it? Just go on and take your leave, baby. Take your leave. Take your leave. I'm trying to remember what it took at, man. Matthew chapter 21. 21 and 17. And he left them and went out of the city into Bethany, and he lodged there. Now in the morning, as he returned into the city, he hungered. And when he saw a fig tree in the way, he came to it and found nothing thereon but leaves only, and said unto it, let no fruit grow on you henceforth forever. And presently the fig tree withered away. When the disciples saw it, they marveled, saying, how soon is the fig tree withered away? Yahushua answered unto them, truly I say unto you, if you have faith and doubt not, you shall not only do this which is done to the fig tree, but also you shall say unto this mountain, be you removed and cast into the sea, and it shall be done. All things whatsoever you shall ask in prayer, believing you shall receive. But I want you to, we're going to focus on the fact that he said when he came to it and found no fruit, but only leaves, he cursed it and it withered away. I want you to continue with me here in John chapter 15. Is there anything else I need to know? Yes, it is, but my pages are gone. So, hold on. John 15, I stopped in verse 3. I'll read 2 again. Every branch of me that bear not fruit, he take away. Every branch that bear fruit, he purge it, that it might bring forth more fruit. Now you are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine. No more can you, except you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. He that abide in me, and I in him, the same bring forth much fruit. For without me, you can do nothing. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch and is withered. And men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. If you abide in me and my words abide in you, you shall ask what you will, and it shall be done unto you. So this fig tree that only has leaves and no fruit is representative of an individual who does not allow the word to abide in them. And because it doesn't abide in them, that means they have not watched or faithfully guarded the fig tree. Therefore, they cannot eat the fruit thereof because they have not guarded Yahusha. So therefore, they have not waited for the master. Therefore, they shall not be honored. Therefore, they must wither away. Romans chapter 1. Romans chapter 1, verse 24. Romans chapter 1, verse 24. Wherefore Elohim also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own heart, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of Elohim into a lie, and worship and serve the creature more than the Creator, who is Baruch forever. Amen. For this cause Elohim gave them up unto vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one towards another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was meet. And even as they did not like to retain Elohim in their knowledge, i.e., his words don't abide in you. So you're a branch who brings forth no fruit. Therefore, you must wither away. And even as they did not like to retain Elohim in their knowledge, Elohim gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of Elohim, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of Elohim, and they which commit such things are worthy of death, and not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do. So when we look at this fig tree, or what we was looking at in Luke 13, the man say, Master, don't cut it down. Let me search it and drop some word in it first. And if it don't bring forth no fruit, then you can do it. But the other one, he came forth looking for some fruit, and it wasn't there. And he had to show the example of, boy, if I say let you be burned, burned you shall be. Because you didn't watch the fig tree, so you can't eat the fruit thereof. You didn't wait on your master. When you talk about waiting on Elohim, that means you have trust and expectation in his word. You have something you seek to receive. See, we don't seek to receive anything from this man. That's why we don't wait on him. That's why the book say, blessed is he that wait. Somebody say, that's all y'all niggas want to do is pray and wait. Anytime you run across a nigga who say they believe in you, who and they mock you for praying and waiting, depart from them. Don't suffer such wickedness. It'll permeate and perpetuate inside the inner recesses of your heart until you are inflamed with the mind of the adversary, until you be destroyed. But you ain't got to take my word for it. Do it for yourself and find out. Y'all niggas grown. Y'all know what y'all like to do what you want to do. That's what most people like to do. They like to do what they want to do. I think we need to come back to Songs of Solomon chapter 2. You know what? Give me Hosea chapter 9 one time. For the one time. Hosea chapter 9 for the one time, for the one time. Nine and 3. Shoot, 9 and 1. As I'm trying to get to a particular type of point. Ooh, boy. So, Hosea 9 and 1. Rejoice not, O Yasharal, for joy as other people, for you have gone a whoring from your Elohim, and you have loved reward upon every corn floor. What does that mean? He said, you don't need to rejoice because you a hoe, and you love to get paid at the houses of your gods, of other people gods. You like to go to other people house and let them pay you. You like to go to the threshing floor, get your reward. See, you like that. I'm telling you, man. I'm going to tell you this here too, right? This is male or female. Doesn't matter. If you always hear a person talking about all the negative people they attract, or they talking about black men ain't this and black women ain't that, i.e., when they talking about specifically the type of people they've been with, that nigga's trash. Something about his penis is trash. Something about his vagina is trash because they keep attracting trash. Because quality is going to attract quality. I don't care what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? You got to pay attention to people who like to buy cheap stuff all the time. Like to buy low quality items. I might be a low quality person. I ain't saying you ain't got to buy expensive stuff, but people don't like to buy stuff that's going to break just because it don't cost nothing. You know what I'm talking about? Now, you know, some things ain't worth spending money on, but a nigga who like to buy low quality everything, something about that ain't right. That's just my personal opinion. Ain't no factor. You know what I'm saying? You can run with it. You ain't got to agree with it. I ain't saying you do. That's just my perspective. And that's weird to me. You like cheap stuff and everything? That says a lot about you. Because then you need to look at the type of people in your life that you deal with. Low quality usually attracts low quality. Because if you were high quality, you will repel low quality because they would not want to be in your presence. Because you're going to frustrate them because they're going to have to elevate themselves. If you're a woman of high quality and a man's of low degree, he's going to have to become a better man to deal with you or he's going to leave. Because you wouldn't even let him get no butt. See, the problem is y'all like low-level men to give booty to because then you feel like you can build him up into the image of the man that you want him to be. And because you built him up, you feel like he'll be forever grateful because you built him up. But no. That nigga's going to duck out on you because you play boo-foo the fool. He's not going to respect you and worship you as a goddess as you desire to be worshipped by getting this low-level nigga. And you don't want the man of high quality because he will not worship you as a goddess. And it irritates you. So now you're left with nothing. Why do I say that? Because just like what he said, you give your gifts to all your lovers and get nothing in return. Because you feel like if you go over here with Dagon and get your reward on that corn floor, that these people are going to worship you as this great person, and they don't. And you know Yahuwah ain't going for it. Sad state of affairs. But reality it is. The floor and the wine press shall not feed them, and the new wine shall fail in her. They shall not dwell in Yahuwah's land, but Ephraim shall return to Egypt, and they shall eat unclean things in Assyria. They shall not offer wine offerings to Yahuwah, neither shall they be pleasing unto him. Their sacrifices shall be unto them as the bread of mourners. All that eat thereof shall be polluted. For their bread, for their soul shall not come into the house of Yahuwah. What will you do in the solemn day and do in the day of the feast of Yahuwah? Well, let's sit back and look at it, right? They didn't offer no wine offerings, but Yahuwah did. And guess what? That wine offering wasn't pleasing to Yahuwah at the time that Yahushua offered it. It wasn't pleasing until after. Y'all didn't even pay attention to that. He said their sacrifice is going to be into them as the bread of mourners. Didn't Yahushua break that bread with his apostles? And what was they doing in Luke 24? What manner of communications are these that you are sad? Have you not? Are you a stranger in Jerusalem? Have you not heard what has happened? That Yahushua of Nazareth, whom we perceived to be the Redeemer of Yasharal and all the things that he suffered, and this being the third day, we had hoped that he would be the one who redeemed Yasharal. And get what? They bread and their soul did not come into the house of Yahuwah until that man had purged himself and been clean 40 days. And then he ascended up there. Let Elohim be esteemed. That's why he say, what will you do in the solemn day and in the day of the feast? Slid it right in there on you. And we ain't pay attention to it. Because you know what solemn is? Ain't but Moed. That's appointed time. What you going to do in that appointed feast day? You ain't even peep Passover in there. Because you've been going on every corn floor, worshiping every god and under every tree and in your high places. And that man still loved you and took you back. And you still won't give him what he wants. Horror! You whore! You slut! You vagabond! You spiritual temptress! For they are gone because of destruction. Egypt shall gather them up. Memphis shall bury them. The pleasant places for their silver. Nettles shall possess them. Thorns shall be in their tabernacles. The day of visitation are come. The days of recompense are come. Asheral shall know it. The prophet is a fool. The spiritual man is mad. The multitude of your iniquity and the great hatred. Oh, the day of visitation. What is the day of visitation, everyone? That word is Pakuda. It means oversight, care, mustering, visitation, store, visitation or punishment. The day of punishment has arrived. And that recompense or that shalom, that reward, that retribution, that requital is come on Yasharal, and Yasharal shall know it. He said the prophet is a fool. And y'all know what a fool is. Avel, foolish. One who mocks when guilty. Remember what it tells you in the book of Proverbs and in Ecclesiastes that stripes are made for whose back? A fool. And we are fools for Mashiach's sake. The prophet is a fool. Did it say we esteem this man to be a prophet? They esteem that man to be a fool. That's what they called him. They slapped. Did they not blindfold him and slap him and say, prophesy, Mashiach? Who slapped you? Fool, pray the Lord. His sufferings is all created throughout the text. We don't like to look at it. It say the spiritual mad or ruach is mad. That is shagah. If you know to be mad, did they not consider this man to be insane? They said this man say he God. They said this man. They said a couple times he's mad. He didn't do that by Elohim. He did it by Beelzebub. Who seeks to kill you? This man is mad. And that's what they said. But he said it was for the multitude of your iniquity and your great hatred. Well, who did you hate? You hated Elohim. That hatred there is Matsama, your enmity. And what did he tell you? It's enmity between the who seed, the woman's seed, and the serpent's seed. And who did they have enmity with? That woman's seed. They had enmity with Elohim. That's why they killed him. That's who they hated. That's who we hate to this day. See, that's why I said that you don't want a God-fearing man, because when he was on the earth, you killed him. So you're not going to tell me you want a God-fearing man, and when he was on the earth, you killed him. Let me say that again. You're not going to tell me you want a God-fearing man because when he was on the earth, you killed him. So you mean to tell me that if a man's God-fearing in 2021, you're going to want him and the man whom he's representing you killed? And you're going to worship the beast because the beast worships himself. That's why the women will flock to him. That's why, and you know why they're going to flock to him? Because he got power and authority. And what do women respect? Power and authority. And if you think I'm talking about a natural born woman, I promise you, your mama raised a fool. You got to think about that and pay attention. What does the book make mention of when he resurrects from the dead? Who can make war to the beast? Who's like unto him? Miracles, power, and authority. You're gonna be swayed by it. Because he gonna be exalting himself. He ain't gonna be fearing Elohim and speaking of Elohim and speaking of Abba and Shamahim. He gonna be speaking of himself. Because contrary to popular belief, women are narcissistic by nature because they're self-worshipers by nature. Because you craft them to be that way to where it's manifest. Because it goes back to what we were talking about before. You won't moderate them. Because what does the text tell you? Yasharal is narcissistic by nature. Because he made man upright, but man sought out many intentions to sit back and worship himself at the altar of himself. You thought I was talking about a natural woman again. You've been duped. You've been bamboozled. You got misdirection, Stanley. Because I'm talking about us as a people, not no woman. Not no woman. And we're going to get God. Because you worship yourself. And you're going to fall for the man. Because you don't want a God-fearing man. Because you killed him. And 98.9% of these Hebrews you see, they're going to kill him again. But this time when they kill him again, they're going to kill you. Because they're going to see him and you and despise him all over again and kill you. Verse 8. The watchman of Ephraim was with my Elohim, but the prophet is a snare of a fowler in all his ways, and hatred in the house of his Elohim. They have deeply corrupted themselves as in the days of Gibeah. Therefore he will remember their iniquity, he will visit their sins. I found Yasharal like grapes in the wilderness. I saw your fathers as the first ripe in the fig tree at our first time. They went to Bel Peor and separated themselves unto that shame, and their abominations were according as they loved. That man say, I follow you as a first ripe fig tree. Y'all remember that first ripe? That's Bakura, early fig, first fruits. Your fathers, when he brought your fathers out the wilderness, that was supposed to be an example of Pentecost. You understand what I'm saying? The giving of the Ruach HaKodesh. They were supposed to be the first one or the first fruits of the Ruach, and then everybody who come after them. Because remember what he said, right? You're supposed to teach this to your children about this memorial so that they could get the Ruach as well as for serving Elohim. But instead, you said, I'm going to go serve Bel Peor. See, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to worship Baal. I'm going to eat coochie. I'm going to eat Mobites and all that freaky stuff they be doing. See, it wasn't the eating of the vagina, per se. It was why they were doing it. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go research Belpior and the worship that goes on with that, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. It wasn't the fact that they were participating in Canigulus. It's the fact of why. Why? Because that's how Moab worshiped Baal Peor. That's how they did it. You got to remember, what does the text say that how these people had? These people had temple prostitutes, male and female. That's an aspect that we disregard, that was a part of ancient idolatrous worship. That they participated in sexual orgies in their houses of worship. That's why he was disgusted with the sons of Eli, because they were knocking women down in the tabernacle. They were reducing the tent of Elohim unto the house of an idol. Because it was bad enough that they were whoremongering, but the fact that you did it here and you despised the sacrifice of Yahuwah on top of that. See, we don't look at the stuff that really what it was that pissed him off. What pissed him off is, you're making me equal to these rotten bastards over here. And he said, I'm Yahuwah. I've created the heavens and earth. I will not give my esteem to another. See, that's what y'all don't realize about a man who's taken the time to build something. He's not giving his power and his honor away. He's not doing it. If I done took my time to make myself be worth 200,000, $500,000, $1 million. See, the reason why most of y'all feel that way, when I say most people, I'm talking about just the average general person, because most of the people who they run across that have that type of money are athletes and entertainers. And when you look at athletes and entertainers, that doesn't mean that they don't work hard in their craft. But boy, that's not the same as a man who took a business and laid the concrete down of the foundation and built from there. There is a difference, because there is a major difference. They live a different lifestyle. See, an athlete plays that game and then they party all the time. And then they have a 4 month period. Well, okay, they train in the off season to get ready for the season, but they ain't put no work in like that to get those millions. They put in work, but not the work of a man who created a business, created systems, got employees, oversaw those employees, or whatever the case may be, or took the time to come up with a product or service, master that product and service, and be able to market that to other people to increase the value of that product and service exponentially. It's not really a job that you can give at all. You can't give your son to be an athlete. All you can want to do is try to introduce him to the sport and hope he wants to play it and he has genetic gifts to be successful. That's it. That's a roll of the dice. That's a roll of the dice. When you're talking about being an entertainer, whether a musician, because he mentioned that last night. Like, most women in this world are not rich. Most women who are rich in this world are entertainers. Most of you have never met indiscriminately wealthy women who are not an entertainer. Most of you ain't never met a woman who had a lot of money who was not an entertainer. You met men who got money because they have to go out here and build something. You know what I'm saying? And it's different. That's not no knock on women. We're dealing with reality. Let's not deal with feelings. Let's deal with reality. That's reality. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who rap, does he have to take the time to write his rhymes, make beats? But at the end of the day, these people are known for partying, getting drunk, and getting high. Whether they're rappers or rock stars or whatever the case may be, it's what they're known for. It is not. I do some of them build vertical businesses? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And they have to put in work. But they're few or far between in regards to the masses of entertainers that you have. There are not many entertainers and athletes that are successful business people in other areas of life, especially for athletes, because most of them, all they know is sports. So when they retire, they don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? And it's different. Because if I took the time to come up from nothing, that's why you hear so many athletes go broke, because they work for the money, but they didn't work for it like a man who labored for it. So a lot of them don't have the appreciation for it. So they waste it. Clinton Portis made a lot of money in the NFL, man. Man, dead broke. Terrell Owen, dead broke. When I say dead broke, meaning they don't have the amount of wealth that they should have, and they're forced to do things that they should not have to do. Kevin Garnett, broke. Nigga hit him for all his bread. And on top of that, you wasteful with it. And you get divorced and your wife sting you for your bread. But a man who put his time in to build up his bread, well, that man's not putting up with anything. He's not doing it. And this man has labored for 15 years straight to build something up that he can have. See, that's the difference. And again, Yahuwah is an example of this here because you have a, whichever one you want. If you have a beta male provider, and then you have a provider. A beta male provider is a man who seeks to give a woman a lifestyle and she exploits him for it. The Yahuwah is a provider because Yahuwah has something already built and he calls you to come in and benefit from what he built. Because the land of Canaan was his, the Canaanites just were visitors. He built that. Because see, when you built that and you get the person benefits from the lifestyle, see, you can take it away. See, the beta male can't take it away because he's actually living and scrambling and doing all manner of things to give you something that you don't deserve because you're not willing to do anything to earn it. See, Yahuwah said, no, you didn't do nothing to earn this, but I'm going to give it to you. But if you don't keep the standard up, I'm going to take it. But we thought he was playing until he took it. We thought he was playing. We thought he was playing. That man wasn't playing. That man was not playing. And that's Yasharal's problem. We always think somebody playing. And ain't nobody playing with you. Ain't nobody playing with you. That man ain't playing. That man dead serious about what he's talking about. He mean, this is pause. I want you to just weigh and consider. Just sit there. Think about it. Just sit there and think about it. Yahusha, sitting at the right hand in Shamahim, the son of the only Elohim, the true Elohim, the only Elohim worthy of honor, esteem, and praise. He says, son, I need you to go down here and I need you to die for these people before I even made these people. He said, Abba, I shall go. He said, very well, my son. And he said, you know what? I want you to forsake all your riches, everything that I have given you. And I want you to bequeath it upon the people who are disrespectful, stout, stubborn-hearted, and been rebellious from the day that you knew them. He said, fine, my father, I shall do so. I want you to go and manifest yourself in the flesh and be dishonored, reproached, disrespected, eaten, spat on, and nailed to a tree so that they may have the benefit of the wealth that you built by fulfilling my wishes and doing the things that I delight in and fulfilling the promises that I made unto them, that when they saw you, that they would trust in you because you're my messenger so that I may redeem them. And then upon that, son, after you die, I want you to resurrect from the dead. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you the power to pick up your life again. No man takes this from you. I'm giving you the power to lay it down and pick it up. And he said, that is what I shall do. And upon doing that, of overcoming sin and death and defeating that and sending death and sin to the pits of hell where it belongs, he is able to ascend to Shamahim to send down the everlasting gift of the Ruach HaKodesh to extend life to all those who believe in it. Therefore, allowing them to benefit from the wealth that he acquired and he put the work in. You didn't have to do anything. You're getting the benefit of his work. Oh, that man got standards and requirements, my G. Because he don't need you. Because you're benefiting from him. He's not getting a benefit from you. See, when a person deals with a beta male provider, you know what I'm talking about? They're thinking that they're giving a benefit to the beta male provider for that person to provide for them. Because that beta male provider is living for the purpose and cause to satisfy someone who doesn't give a damn about them. Not a place to bleed. Don't be there. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Be that Yahusha in all aspects But in this particular instance of a man who built something, where those who come into your life benefit from what you have built. You're coming in to benefit from what Yahusha built, and you ought to be thankful. You're not coming into what your forefathers had. They had no grace and mercy and Ruach HaKodesh. You're coming into what he has built. You benefit from him. And when you benefit from him, from what he has built, and he has no need to appease you because he's the one who built it, or you're going to meet his requirements so you can leave. So you better start watching and being faithful with that fig tree so you can eat the fruit thereof. If not, you have not waited upon your master, and you will not be honored, because whoever come over here to 1 Samuel chapter 2. I don't even want to say it. I don't want to say it. Don't want to say it. Because I was going to say it wrong. I said, you know what? Why do that? Why? Why not just give it to them how it reads? You could pick this up at verse 24, 1 Samuel chapter 2. We finna get on out of here, man. I'll let y'all slide for the evening, man. I appreciate y'all time nonetheless. Just let the words of Elohim rejoice in your heart. 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 22. Now Eli was very old and heard all that his sons did under Yasharal, and how they lay with the woman that assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. He said unto them, why do you do such things? For I hear of your evil dealings by all this people. No, my sons, for it is not good report that I hear you make Yahuwah's people to transgress. If one man sin against another, the judge shall judge him. If a man sin against Yahuwah, who shall entreat for him? Notwithstanding, they hearken not unto the voice of their father, because Yahuwah was slain. The child Samuel grew on and was in favor both with Yahuwah and also with men. There came a man of Elohim unto Eli and said unto him, thus saith Yahuwah, did I plainly appear into the house of your father? You were in Egypt in Pharaoh's house. Did I choose him out of all the tribes of Yasharal to be my priest, to offer upon my altar to burn incense, to wear an ephod before me? Did I give unto the house of your father all the offerings made by fire of the sons of Yasharal? Wherefore kick you at my sacrifice and my offering, which I have commanded in my habitation, and honor your sons above me, to make yourselves fat with the chiefest of all offerings of Yasharal, my people. Wherefore Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharal said, indeed, that your house and the house of your father should walk before me forever. And now Yahuwah say, be it far from me. For them that honor me, I will honor, and they that despise me shall be lightly esteemed. Mm-mm. Well, if you despise Elohim, well, that man not going to honor you. That's what you see going on in the natural world. A lot of women hate men, and men are not honoring them. They don't understand why. You get honor when you give honor. No one's honoring someone who despises them. It's not going to happen. That man say he'll honor those who honor him, but if you despise him, that man is going to lightly esteem you. And that esteeming goes, if it translates to be abhorred or hated. He's not going to fool with you. So all we looked at all that there just was talking about that fig tree, because in regards of, you have to be faithful to the fig tree in order to eat the fruit. You're going to have to dig it. You're going to have to dung it. You're going to have to till it. But hallelujah for Yahushua. We'll start right there. Yahuwah willing, we pick it up on tomorrow. But I just want y'all to remember that what he said about that fig tree in Luke 13, to search it out and to drop word in it and see if it's going to bring some fruit. And scatter the seed into the dung or manure, see if it's going to be some force of fruit. And I drop this seed in this unclean heart that is encapsulated and enveloped with sin. And will they come up out of that bearing fruit? The fruits of patience, the fruits of justice, the fruits of judgment, the fruits of righteousness, the fruits of long suffering, meekness, gentleness, peace, faith, love, and self-control. Is it going to bring that about? He said, man, let me dig it and dung it. Let me search it out. Let me drop some word in it and see what the word do. And if it don't bring forth no fruit in the time of me hitting them off with the word, they go ahead and cut that down. Think about that. Think about that, man. Man, we out here playing games, yo, with our life. We out here playing games. You know what I'm saying? Because you want somebody to take something that they didn't want. Yahuwah only going to take what he wants. He's not taking what you want to give him. He ain't taking it. Because as I said before, and I've said it for years, I don't want you to think some of the stuff I just started saying. I've been saying this stuff for years. We don't want a God-fearing man. Because when you had him, you killed him. And when you had his representatives before he came in the flesh, through the mouth of his prophets, you killed him. Because when you're dealing with a God-fearing man, that man got standards. That man's got a code. That man's got ethics. And they're not compromising that. And they're going to hold you accountable and responsible for you not adhering to such things. And you will despise them for it and you will kill them. Why do you think so many people are going to be deceived by the beast? You think it's just going to be because of the miracles? It's going to be because it's going to be freedom. He's going to take you as you are. He don't care. He's going to take you just like that. And that's what you want. Nobody else. See, you got them pick-me's over there talking about the lamb doing what God say do. That nigga a pick-me. I hope somebody come pick him. You know what? That's miserable people talk. Why you got to ask yourself is why as individuals think it's a negative to be desirable to someone who does the choosing. You got to ask yourself, what's wrong with that type of mind frame? To make yourself desirable to the person who is doing the selecting. Why, as a woman, you wouldn't want to be what men want, i.e., as the wife and bride of the living Elohim, his woman. Why would you not want to be what Elohim wants and delights? I'm here to tell you, and the word tell you. You've seen it when we read it in John 15. A man who has a woman who delights to serve him and give him what he wants, there is nothing that is restrained from that woman. Her every request is honored. Her every desire is fulfilled if it's within his power. And if it's according to his will, she's going to get it. See, the women who don't seek, give a man what he wants and desires to serve and please him, they always end up bitter and with the women who seek to please their man and give him what he wants and desires seem to be so joyful, not happy, joyful, and don't have a care or concern in the world because that man won't give her any cares and concerns because she seeks to please him. So then he lives to please her because she fulfills the words of the covenant. And if you got ears to hear, then you understand completely what I just said. And that's how all of us ought to live and should move to live before there is no time to live. And you have to stand before that throne. Bless y'all at the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua, and I appreciate your time. Weigh and consider, rejoice in the righteousness of your God. Speak of his righteousness and his righteousness alone. Speak of his doings amongst all those who you come across and let them know that Yahuwah reigns, that he is the true Elohim. He's just and righteous and ready to forgive, full and plenteous of mercy. And he keeps that for all those that love him and follow his instructions. So again, blessings out of the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua, and Baruch be the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua, and Yahuwah willing to the next time.